folks, welcome back to TIMBERPUNK. This is version 2 of this video. So I recorded a version of this video last night. I was very tired and it wasn't very good, so it's gone in the bin. If that bothers you, tough. I decided it wasn't good enough, so it has gone. I'm going to do mostly the same things, just hopefully slightly more competently. I'm going to start off by doing something different, actually, because we're going to try and sort this bit out. And essentially, we're going to redo some of the stuff that I did last time. We're just going to put a pump in to do the thing that I thought we needed to do. And then we're going to go head over to the other one that needs building. And we're going to allow for some logic in there. So, yeah. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to get rid of this. This could be a terrain block, but I'm going to use a levee because we've got logs now. And I'm going to put in the deep mechanical pump. At least one of you agreed with me that this is what we needed to add back in the energy that is required. We're going to need some power. And we could recover this energy with some water wheels. Agree there as well. Not super worried about that. I think our power grid is fairly robust and we can maybe do some stuff to improve that as well. In the future, I'm going to do that. And I think then we'll use some dams across there so that if it all gets a bit full, it'll overflow. So that's going to be that. For a little while, it'll not do its thing, but it'll get sorted. And we'll come back and visit this in a bit. This one I think is just fine. We can just leave this to do its thing. And we're going to head over here. And work on this one. Now, this one is going to cause us some challenges and opportunities. And this is one I worked on last time I did this video, and it caused me some problems. And so I'm going to tackle it in a different way this time. And what I want to do is this is going to essentially give us a continuous strength 1 water source, pretty much. And I want to feed it into this channel. And the problem is what that does is this channel is not great for handling that when we've got all of this water as well. So what we need to do is change a bunch of logic. And the drought is probably going to be a good time to look at that. But let's crack on with getting some of this stuff sorted. So I think probably the first thing we're going to do is start to deepen this. So we'll come here and here. And we are then going to run a 3 deep channel out to here. And then we're going to put in some dirt here and here. And we'll get rid of that guy, I think. And hopefully that gives us something which is big enough to do what we want to do. And I'm going to turn these around. So that's that started. That can stay there. And we're going to put in a tank for extract as well. That's the plan. And the other thing that we're going to do is we are going to use the trick that, actually we need to wait for the explosion. We're going to use the trick that was recommended before of using a terrain block to protect the entrance to this guy. Because that really seems to help. Other things that I want to do is tidy up this. So I'm moderately confident that here we're pretty much only getting about 2 CMS coming through this, give or take a bit. And I don't want to restrict it anymore. But we're just going to leave that as it is. I'm just tidying this up just for kind of neatness sakes, really. And let's run at triple speed. So So we will detonate that out. Detonate that out. And then based on what I learned yesterday, we're going to do that. And we could change it. We could actually, let's change it. No, we can't because of the way the power comes in. We're going to do that because that then protects the entrance completely. And then what I want to do is we're going to run put the water pumps in first actually. So no, we need to run a channel along, yeah, probably to there. And I'll throw in, oh, the drought's ending actually, it's not the drought starting. We'll throw in a terrain block there. Just to give ourselves, and we will also put in one more piece of triple dynamite there. And let's also put that there, because we need to connect this into this. But a lot of today is going to be messing with logic, I think, and automation. Just run that path through there. Because predominantly it's going to be... So what I found is that... No, we want a throttling valve that can be set to unlimited because it's just a one-way valve. I found that having all three of these going plus... Okay, so we then need to delete that, I guess. So that we've not got any extra problems. And now we've got the... Once this gets itself caught up... Let's give it a minute. I'll set to 0.8. Are you not flowing now? Let's just close that a sec. Let it empty out. Because I think things may have got a bit messed up where it was stuck. Let's reset essentially. And then let's open it up. And I guess we could have that set a bit lower so it can flow. Oh, we need that. We need a throttling valve there, don't we? Yeah. Get that built. Because we want to be forcing the flow this way. Yep. But we also do... Yeah. We can do that by closing that, I guess. Other than that. And just give it a moment. Now we have... I guess we need this to be lower now. So there's room for this to pump. So what we actually want is floodgates. Maybe we want this to be significantly lower. Maybe what we want to do is dynamite that out. Only one there. Are you paused? Pipe is obstructed. Oh, because I put dynamite going there. That's fine. You're fine. And then we on, floodgates. Right. Detonate you. So that then goes down. You go there, and they can build the floodgates. I mean, even that got a higher current flow. That's currently at 1.6, so it's gone up a little bit. But I don't know if we could maybe get a bit more by just having a little bit of depth here. I don't think it needs to be much. Again, we'll come back to this. That is still set to... oh, there is nothing limiting the flow in now, is there? I guess this we might want set to something so the backflow can go out. That's now pumping constantly. Awesome. So we're getting 1.6 now. So we've gained 0.3. And we're getting in here 74%. It's better. Let's leave that now. Not perfect, but it's better. Right. So yes, what I discovered is that with all three of these running, we overwhelm the water management essentially. I couldn't get enough water through this system and into here over time. And something that we want to look at doing before we get there is, we'll do it now, is let's come in here, let's delete that. We could just join them together, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to put them like that, that there, put those back, and rebuild the path. And also we will come over here. Let's put in a little bridge guy, and this is stuff that I did last time, but I'm remembering to do earlier this time, I think. We are going to end up losing a little bit of water, but that's fine. And we'll block these off. And then we are starting to fill the Dragon Sea finally. But yeah, I mean, I'm almost tempted actually to pour some of this stuff because we're generating more water than we can use at the moment. So, you know, it's a problem. It's a problem. But anyway, so we've got these. We can quite easily hook these up to power in a bit. But we then need to deal with the bad water. And what I'm going to do for that is underneath. So this is mostly recreating what I did previously. We'll come up somewhere here. 198, 160. That's a hit. Yep, so that's fine. So we'll grab some explosives. So that was 198, 115. There. And I guess we better throw in some ladders to help them with the building of stuff. Here we go. Awesome. So while they're doing that, I want to have a look at some of this logic. So these are controlled by this guy. So basically, if this fills up, these stop. Okay. These are controlled by a pump controller. This guy, which is not temperate and water and is pond depth and res depth. So that basically, these turn on if this empties. I think that's probably okay. And these, probably the control of these is okay. So we'll probably leave that. We'll probably leave those alone. Awesome. So then we're going to run this along here. You might be asking, as I was suggesting in the comments, why don't I just let the bad water run out? And I had a problem in my testing of pulsing in the system. So I wanted to hold the filtered output until all of the clean water was pumped out. So I was holding it until it got to 100% contamination with throttling valves and automation. And then it would dump. And I found that created sloshing in the system. And so I found it was better to pump out the bad water. It just created a more stable system, in my experience. So that's what I'm going to do here. Again, you might have more experience, more luck using other approaches. And if you do, that's fine. The testing that I did, I found it was better to pump the bad water out. And we're in a situation where power is nominally fine. So yeah, and the logic change that I want to do is to basically set it up so that most of the time the output of this is headed this way. And we're probably going to get rid of this. And then during non-temperate times, if needed, it goes this way to top this up. Or essentially to top this up, I guess. And then what we're going to need to do is have a method of moving more water through the rest of the system. So, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. And in fact, the drought beginning to start is a perfect time to look at that in a moment. So we need another dirt block. Everything is in exactly the same place as I did it last time, and that's fine. We're going to set you to be bad water. Bosh, bosh. You're going to be water. Bosh, bosh. And this will allow us to bridge between this power supply and this little power supply, which is also cool. Are we looking over here? We are gaining water, which is good. Over here we are, so you can see we're kind of on the verge of flooding. And we are flooding down here because we just can't handle how much water we're producing now. So during the drought, when this has dropped enough, I'm going to widen the little channel that's under here. I mean, it's not actually full, so I guess that bit is. I'm not sure where the limiting factor is there. Is it that? And that's slightly constricted, isn't it? Maybe if we open that up a bit, but I'm going to try and open the whole thing up essentially to allow for more flow, because I think that will be a good thing. The alternative is we take water from I mean, we've not even got this active and we have a problem, so we need to address it. The alternative is we take the flow through here and to this and pump more through here. I mean, it looks like we need to extend this up anyway. So let's have a look at doing that. I guess I can extend that up as high as it needs to go. So let's go all the way up. And that'll allow that to store a bunch of water. But yeah, kind of got... So I had two schools of thought, and I'm not really settled on one yet. I'd like to try and do it so that we're pushing more water through this way, and maybe we try and look at that first. And so, I mean, that looks like a point of constriction to me, and that can easily be dealt with by a couple of tunnels there. That will start to open things up a little bit. The other problem is what we need to be able to do is to get this lower. So we need to be getting more water out of here. And so that's my goal at the moment. I do think that maybe it's just a case of widening this. It's not full, but I don't know whether it would be full. I'm just going to pause for a second. Because it's not pressurized, so... I'm just trying to... So, we've got 2 points that we need to worry about by the looks of things as we come through. So, let's... What's the best way to do this? I think stop procrastinating and just do it. That's what I think. Let's do that. We can rip that out. We can rip that out, and we can rip that out. What we need to do is I'm going to prioritize that, that, and that. I'm just going to pause because I'm now really concerned that something bad is happening above. I mean, I guess that's not really a problem, except we probably want to impermeable floor that with a quickness. Didn't expect that to be happening. Right, so you've been done. So let's grab the impermeable floor, stick you there. Get the prioritization, get you prioritized. Cool. So we are going to be losing water into this. Likewise, grab the impermeable floor, put you there. Get you prioritized. You see the water's literally just stopping flowing as it hits the impermeable floors. Awesome. So let's jump out now. And is that allowing more water to flow and therefore this to be emptier. Because the problem is this is closing essentially, which we don't want. Or do I need to make this bigger? There's another question for you. Are these limiting the flow now? There is another question. And I guess we can easily resolve that with tunnel. And then we just put another one of those in. So, I mean, that might as well just be a piece of dynamite. But being able to move more water is obviously more gooder. So let's see if we can do that, I guess. See if we can get more water coming out of here into here. I think that's still relatively full. Relatively rapid. It's a shame we can't get water out of there. And if we had the Archimedes screw mod, you would be able to, but I am not running that on here. Do I make it even wider? We could, but I mean, it's not full, so I don't think we need to. It's quite full. It's quite full. Okay, I had to take a quick pause for my day job. Right, let's get back to working on this side of things. And I'm going to focus on sorting the logic first before we actually add flow into the system. So I think now we can afford to feed water this way. This seems to be coping much better. Obviously, we don't have water coming in at the moment, but if we need to, we'll adjust things and help with getting more water flowing that way. To the person that suggested we also extend this to keep this full. I haven't forgotten your comment. We just haven't got there yet. But yeah, so what I think we want to do is remove the automation on these. Remove the automation on this and just have it paused for now. This we will, let's go back over here. Remove the automation and set to be closed. And this, what do we want that to be able to do? I think we want water to be able to flow into there if we are sending water this way. Because then we can use the pumps to keep this full. This one I think we'll have closed. If this overfills, it'll go into here. If we have any excess water from these, at what point does this switch off? the threshold. Res full. Caused by automation. Are they always off now? So if we set that to be this is set to 0.9. This is set to 0.75. So I'm going to set this to be 0.8. This I'm going to set to be 0.59. And if it is less than, yeah, so these should be on. So during that way, when they can provide water, they will keep pumping unless this ever gets to 0.9, which it shouldn't, because it can send water this way unless this whole thing fills up. We do need to... Oh, we've got bad water in there. Interesting. Okay, anyway, we need to account for that. Let's get that done. But if this ever fills up completely, then and this reservoir, then these would switch off, and we'll keep an eye out for that. So that deals with those. And then during droughts or bad tides, this will keep this at least 0.35 based on this. So what we want to do is keep this full. Just realized I was recording. I was talking to myself without recording. So I've put in a couple of floodgates here and here, which we're going to automate to manage keeping this full. And I'm going to use real automation, or what I call real automation. So let's head in to here, and we're going to create a rule that if it is not temperate, I'll just do that for now. Yep, that's fine. Go back into here. We want not temperate. We also want, she's discard that. We want the signal is mangrove irrig. One save. I think that's okay. Yep, so script. It's not temperate. And this guy is, let's go less than 1. That opens. Rid of that. Duplicate, invert. No, we don't want to invert it yet. So, but if it's not temperate and that is full, then close it. Save. Okay. We're then going to copy those rules, apply to that. We're going to go into here and we're going to invert those in terms of the floodgate heights. save and close. So currently, because this is full, the water will go this way. And then what we want is or if it's temperate, we do this one. And I always struggle with the bracket system in this because we basically want or season equals temperate. 0 save script. Save and or so if that and that or that. That's right. And if the season, yeah. And I'm just going to do a discard, delete script. Copy that. Save. So I only want it to close that one under those conditions. I want it to open it under those conditions. Script. And I want it to close that one. Save. Save and close. So I think that's right. And then we can get rid of that. Yes, in theory, we can get rid of that and that. And actually what we want is a throttling valve that goes that way. Set to unlimited. And we can close up all of that. And then we just need to hook up power. Which is there. And we're going to go over here. Yeah. 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 And then what we could do is over, come on game, even lagging on this computer, and this doesn't normally lag on this one, folks. We are approaching the end. I think that's right. We also need storage, extract, obtain. Come on, build that one. Cool. So we can now unpause you, prioritize you by haulers. It's got that hooked up to the main power grid now. Did this get built? Yeah, nearly. Oh I've got another corner. Dirt. Dirt. There we go. So, yeah, so that's now pushing water that way. Whilst this is full, which is what we want. Letting it flow into here, which is what we want. How well is this working is the next question. Decoration. You. Let's see, shall we? There is a tiny bit of water here. Which is a slight problem that we could resolve by putting another pump here and having it bring it back this way. So we're getting 71%, so we're pretty good. So what we could do is you and then tunneling a couple of tunnels there, brings it into the same bit, so the logic will still hold up. They currently can't get to that, so let's do that. And that's the disadvantage of kind of teeing this off, and probably we could get rid of one of these. Because we don't need 6 pumps doing this job. We only really need the one. That's why it's quite nice having like a linear setup, but you know. Come on. Dude. I'm going to blow this stuff and we can start building the pump at least. There we go. Alright. And then I'm going to put a throttling valve there just to keep the flow going in the right direction. We can see, yeah, we have, I think, pretty much completely clean water here. So it's a bit of a waste. It's sitting there. It's a little pocket, but it might almost be better to have the 2 clean water pumps here and here. So it's all happening in one area. Either way. Gonna do a job, folks. It's gonna do a job. No, you pause. You pause. Get rid of you. You, but you be paused. Pause. Pause. I've built you now. Bye. Be paused. We're going to do automation. Bosh. Yeah. And I think you've got the automation rules in place. So, and if we go over here, we are not quite streaming water in now. But we are keeping it full, which is kind of cool. And we're about to up the amount of water flowing. So let's just do a double check, shall we? If it's temperate, so if it's not temperate and the mangrove reservoir is low, this one shuts. If it isn't temperate and it's full or it's temperate, this one opens. Yep. And this one should just be the opposite of all of that. Yep. Yep. So that will allow water to flow into there. That one's closed. These stay on until this is at 0.59. By 5.9. This is set to 0.8, which means once it's full to above 0.8, it will flow into here. If it hits 0.9, which means this is full, it'll turn off. That one's closed, so that's fine. Logic for these pumps is still the same, so that's okay. So it's just whether this can retain enough, or whether this can deal with enough water flow. Now we're at the point where it's dropped enough that we could just expand it now. Maybe we just do that. I'm just going to pause for a second so I don't do a bunch of damage. Tunneling. You can run out there. What are we losing? Nothing major there. Okay, that's fine. And then tunneling, and then let's go that way. There. Yeah, we can run out there, and that'll be fine. Awesome. And then in terms of here, I think opening that up will be okay. And we go up here. I don't see a problem with opening all of that up. And then I am going to here. Impermeable for all of that. Go back under. Impermeable floor. I'm glad we didn't do that before. Impermeable floor, all of that. And hopefully that fairly wide now tunnel will enable a lot more water to flow. Because there is also a wider exit there. But hey, we've got water into here at least. Let's grab us a quick thumbnail. Turn off actually. Forgive the use of dev controls. Where's fog? Fog. While we've still got some water. So yeah, I think we're going to wrap up there. Point out the mistakes that I've made in the logic, because there's probably been some, but I think we've got it resolved. Hoping this is going to be robust. We'll see. and we can always expand this a bit. The last thing that I'm going to mention for today, not sure what we're going to do next, but it was suggested that if we wanted more water flow, I had forgotten this guy. So this is a strength 20 bad water source. Potentially allows for a huge amount of crossflow filtering. Now, I'm kind of done with crossflow filters, I've got to admit. I'm hoping the nearly 3 sources we've added is going to help. We've got some quite weak aquifers over here that we can tap into, that I'd kind of like to make use of. But we'll see. There's a few Steam achievements I want to get now on here, which we still have not yet achieved. There's a couple of little things I'd like to sort, like linking this bit of the reservoir into the main body. Should be relatively easy. Yeah, so a few things I want to sort out still. We need to free the last of the beavers, which it looks like we're in a position to do. But that's going to be it for today. So comments, questions, suggestions, stick them below. Thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members, and I will see you folks next time.